What's up, YouTubers? This is Mr. Monkey Swag, and today I would like to discuss the history of the peace dollar. So, the peace dollar was a result of legislation in Congress known as the Pittman Act of 1918. The first provision of the Pittman Act was for the U.S. Treasury to melt down excess supplies of Morgan dollars within the vaults. As we all know, the United States Treasury had millions upon millions of bags of Morgan dollars just sitting there, just collecting dust without circulating at all. So the Pittman Act provided the Treasury a way to dispose of these excess supplies of Morgan dollars. So the Pittman Act required the Treasury to melt down those Morgan dollars and to turn those Morgan dollars into silver bars. And these silver bars were to be sent to Great Britain to help pay off World War I. The second provision of the Pittman Act of 1918 was for the U.S. Mint to purchase newly mined silver from Nevada and to turn that newly mined silver into silver dollars to replace the Morgan dollars that were melted down. So lobbyists, numismatists, and politicians see the Pittman Act as an opportunity to redesign the Morgan dollar into the peace dollar. As I said before, the Pittman Act was passed in 1918. That was one of the later years of World War I. World War I was coming to a close. And World War I was believed to be the war to end all wars. So it would make sense for the U.S. Mint to produce a coin that symbolizes peace. So they chose to redesign the Morgan dollar into the peace dollar. So the U.S. Mint selected a guy named Anthony DeFrancisci. Anthony DeFrancisci was an Italian immigrant who was a jeweler, an engraver, and a medalist by trade. So he's the perfect guy to redesign the dollar coin. So let's talk about the obverse. So the obverse, you see Lady Liberty. So Anthony DeFrancisci modeled this image of Lady Liberty after his wife, Teresa. And judging by Lady Liberty's portrait on the peace dollar, you can tell Teresa is a pretty sexy lady with her flowing hair and stuff like that. In fact, when the peace dollar design became public, there are a lot of newspapers that actually criticize this image of Lady Liberty. They describe, as I said before, Teresa is a sexy lady. So the newspapers criticize the peace dollar as being eye candy. Believe it or not. So yeah, they call the peace dollar design eye candy. So, and you see the legend "In God We Trust," but notice how the word trust is spelled. Trust is spelled Trust, but Anthony DeFrancisci spelled it as Trvst. So, as I said before, Anthony DeFrancisci, he's Italian. So you can see the Italian influence on the spelling of trust. Because, in Roman, Italian art, they instead of using the letter U, they use the letter V instead, which is why it's spelled as TRVST in trust. The reverse design depicts an eagle holding an olive branch. Originally, when Anthony DeFrancisci first designed the peace dollar, he originally intended to design the eagle holding a broken sword, but that didn't fly well with the U.S. Mint officials. The U.S. Mint officials were afraid the public would be in outrage over an eagle holding a broken sword, because that symbolizes America as being weak. So instead, Anthony DeFrancisci modified the design to instead depict an eagle holding an olive branch. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but in 1921, there are two different types of silver dollars that were produced. They produced Morgan dollars in 1921, and they produced peace dollars in 1921. Out of all the silver dollars that were produced in 1921, the vast majority of the silver dollars that were produced in 1921 were Morgan dollars. Peace dollars were only a minority of the total mintage of silver dollars in 1921. So yeah, the vast majority of silver dollars that were produced in 1921 were Morgan dollars. Peace dollars were only a minority of the amount of silver dollars made in 1921. So you might ask why that is. Well, as I said before, Anthony DeFrancisci had to modify the reverse design of the peace dollar to depict an eagle holding an olive branch instead of a broken sword. So yeah, he had to modify the dies, and that took time. So that resulted in the U.S. Mint delaying the production of the peace dollar in 1921. So instead, they had to produce more Morgan dollars in 1921. So the Morgan dollars were produced for much of the year in 1921. When the United States Mint finally achieved the production of peace dollars in 1921, they did it at the end of the year. So because of that, there are not many peace dollars made in 1921. While instead there are like millions upon millions of Morgan dollars made in 1921. So yeah. So I would like to discuss each of my peace dollars. So here's the first year of issue, 1921, high relief. So the 1921 peace dollar is a high relief coin. As you can tell by the label on here. So I would say the 1921 peace dollar is the only way to acquire a peace dollar as envisioned by Anthony DeFrancisci. This is how DeFrancisci wanted the peace dollar to look like, with a high relief. The 1921 peace dollar is one of the key dates in the peace dollar series. So the 1921 peace dollar is a very desirable coin. This coin has a low mintage of 1 million pieces. Let's compare. So a mintage of 1 million is very low for a coin that circulates. Compare that to the Silver Krugerrand released this year. The Silver Krugerrand had a mintage of 1 million, but all of them would grade at least MS69, MS70, or in the worst case, MS68. But the Krugerrand doesn't circulate. This peace dollar has a mintage of 1 million, but it does circulate, so it would cost a lot of money to buy one that is in high grade. Most of the peace dollars of 1921 circulated. So yeah. So this is just evidence that mintage doesn't mean everything. So yeah, the peace dollar, as I said, is a high relief coin. You can really see the depth of the relief. The high relief is more evident on the obverse design. So let's compare it to a peace dollar that was produced after 1921. So you can really see the high relief on the 1921 peace dollar compared to the 1922 peace dollar right here. The 1922 peace dollar had a much flatter relief, but the 1921 had a much higher relief. So yeah, let's talk about the high relief design. So 1921 was the only year business strike peace dollars were produced with a high relief. The reason why was that the high relief design made it difficult for banks to stack these peace dollars. So yeah, I mean it's really obvious with a high relief design like this, it would be very difficult to stack these peace dollars on top of each other. So because the banks are complaining that the high relief design is making the peace dollars difficult to stack, they in 1922, the year after that, they reduced the relief of the peace dollar. So peace dollars produced from 1922 through 1935 all have a flat relief. So 1921 was the only year that high relief peace dollars were produced for circulation. So yeah, this is a 1922 San Francisco. It has a S mint mark. So the 1922 San Francisco peace dollar had a mintage of 20 million pieces, which is a really high mintage. But as I said before, mintage doesn't mean everything. Believe it or not, a peace dollar, a 1922 peace dollar in MS-65 condition sells for $2,000. A 1922 S peace dollar in MS-66 condition sells for $20,000. That's because in the 1922 San Francisco, it's very hard to find one with a very strong strike. Most of these 1922 San Francisco peace dollars have a weak strike with weak luster, so it's very hard to find one that has nice eye appeal without all those bag marks. But yeah, so that's 1922 S. So judging from my peace dollars, you might wonder why I don't have any toned peace dollars. Here's the reason why I don't have any toned peace dollars. Peace dollars don't tone very well. Peace dollars usually tone in a ugly black or brown color, and here's the reason why. The peace dollars were dipped in a chemical solution that prevents them from developing colorful toning. You see Morgan dollars produce rainbow colors all the time. You've seen quite a few Morgan dollars developing rainbow toning, but that's not the case with peace dollars. The peace dollar planchets were dipped in a chemical solution that would prevent them from developing rainbow toning. So yeah. In fact, PCGS considers most peace dollars that are rainbow toned to be artificially toned, and an artificially toned coin is basically a damaged coin. So if you go on eBay and you see a rainbow toned peace dollar, I would not advise picking that up. It might be artificially toned, because peace dollars very rarely develop rainbow toning. So here is the third coin I'm going to show. 1923 peace dollar, MS-63. This is a very common coin. I believe the 1923 Philadelphia has the second largest mintage in the entire series. Here's a 1924 peace dollar, a very common date, just like the 1923. So 1923 and 1924 are very common dates. 1925, this one does have a bit of toning on it though, which is nice. I rarely see peace dollars with with this orange toning. So that's a really nice plus for this coin. So 1925 peace dollar, still a very common coin. 1923, 1924, 1925, and even 1922 Philadelphia, they're all very common coins. They made multi-millions of those coins. Now let's get onto a better date coin. This is 1934D. This is a semi-key date coin. I believe they only made a little over 1 million of these. And there's like a very desirable error variety for the 1934D called the double die variety. Those are pretty expensive. But yeah, so you might wonder why mine's only graded AU58 when it looks obviously mint state. Well, this is called, AU58 coins are called slider coins. Basically, they look like a mint state coin, but they do have a little bit of wear that is barely noticeable to the naked eye. So you have to really inspect this coin to really find the rub. But yeah, 1934D is a better date coin. So let's talk about the key dates of the peace dollar. So obviously, as I said before, 1921 is one of the key dates of the peace dollar series. The other two key dates are the 1928 Philadelphia and the 1934 San Francisco. I have a 1934 Denver. I wish I have a 1934 San Francisco. 1934 San Francisco is expensive in high grades. So yeah, 1921 Philadelphia, 1928 Philadelphia, and 1934 San Francisco. Those are the three key dates in the peace dollar series. So let's talk. So yeah, here's just an overview of my coins. You know, the high relief peace dollar, 1922S. 1923 Philadelphia, 1924 Philadelphia. I really like the satin surfaces of this 1924. 1925. And finally 1934D. Really nice eye appeal on this 1934D. So, the last thing I would like to talk about are peace dollar proof coins. So, there are only 2 years in which peace dollars were produced as proof coins. That is 1921, the first year, and 1922. Those are the only years that the United States Mint produced peace dollar proofs. But these peace dollar proofs are very interesting. Here's the reason why. The peace dollar proof coins were produced as matte proofs. You might ask me, what is a matte proof? A matte proof is a proof coin that has a matte finish. Basically, the matte finish on these proofs are achieved by sandblasting the planchets. So it gives them that matte finish. You know, when people think of a proof coin, they think of a coin with reflective mirror-like surfaces. But that's not the case with the peace dollar proofs. The peace dollar proofs have a matte finish. And, you know, I've seen pictures of these peace dollar proof coins. It's really hard to distinguish them from a regular peace dollar. So that's the reason why these peace dollar matte proofs, they were not popular back then. So, which is why they have low mintages. I believe the 1922 peace dollar proof had a mintage of only a dozen pieces. So it's a very rare coin, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. But yeah, so that's my collection of peace dollars. I hope you guys like it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace, YouTubers.